What's up, you sick mother bluffers? In this one, I'm playing at Deuce's. I fired 2 bullets in the Friday tournament, but busted when I couldn't win a flip. So here I am at the cash table, buying in for 300. Let's get into the action. In this first hand, there's a raise to 7 from under the gun. Under the gun 1 calls, hijack calls. Before I look down, I had ace queen offsuit in the cutoff. I raised to 35. The initial under the gun raiser folds, but under the gun 1 and the hijack make the call. We're headed 3 ways to a flop of 5-5-10 rainbow, and both players check to me. A small c-bet should often get the job done here. I continue for 40, and like we say in my native language, ça passe comme papa dans maman. I get it through. The button straddle is on in this one. The small blind calls. I look down at pocket aces and under the gun. I raise to 20. I get called by the middle position player and the cutoff before the button slides their whole stack in 107. Part of me kind of wants to just call and maybe get one of the 2 other callers to come along, but ultimately I pick the straightforward option and 4-bet all in for 254. The 2 other players fold. We flip our hands over and the button has pocket kings. Ouch. What a cooler for them. We're going heads up to a run out, which comes clean, and I stack him. And this is how you play pocket aces to perfection. You get dealt aces, somebody gets dealt kings, you get it all in pre, run out comes clean, you stack him. If you found this valuable, make sure to like the video and don't forget to subscribe if you'd like more poker tips in the future. In this one, we're playing a $5 drama hot bomb pot. We go 6 ways to a flop of ace, queen, jack, 2 clubs. Action checks to me, and I look down at king, king, 10, 7, 5 with the king and 10 of clubs. I flop the nut straight, a redraw to the royal flush, and I've got a pair of kings in my hand. I bet 15. Happy to get multiple callers here, but I get more than that. The button pots it to 75. When action falls back around to the under the gun player, they decide to 3-bet all in for 180. I think my best option at this point is to call, get the button to come along, and hope I hold on the board. So that's what I do. I call, the button calls, and so we're headed 3 ways to draw time. I throw away the 7 and the 5, holding onto my nut straight and royal flush draw. Under gun draws 1 and button draws 2. The turn comes the 3 of hearts and I draw 2 9s, giving me 2 pair in my hand. Time to get it all in. I shove for my last 150, and the button snippity snaps. We're going heads up for the side pot to the river, which comes the 6 of clubs, giving me the second nut flush. We show down our hands, and the button shows king, king, queen, 10, 6 for the same flop straight and a pair of kings down. Sadly for them, I hit my redraw to the flush, and I make 2 pair down, so I'm going to scoop the side pot. Under the gun shows ace, ace, queen, jack, jack for a double flop set and 8 better 2 pair down. Thankfully, the board did not pair and they did not draw a club, which would have given them the nut flush, so I dodged a bunch of outs to chop the main pot. I end up winning close to 600 bucks in this hand. Nice. In this one, action folds to the cutoff, who opens to 10. It folds to me in the big blind, and I look down at ace 10 offsuit. I could 3-bet here sometimes, but this time I decide to just call. We go heads up to a flop of 10, 5 deuce, 2 clubs. I check and float to my opponent, who continues for 10. I just call. I'm happy to let my opponent continue with their bluffs, and I also avoid value cutting myself when they have an overpair. Turn comes a queen of hearts. I check, and this time the cutoff turns up the heat and bets 40. Not the most comfortable spot with second pair. I still lose to the overpairs, and I also now lose to ace queen, king queen, queen jack, but I'm also ahead of flush draws, ace king, king jack, ace jack, 10-9 suited, pairs under a 10 that my opponent could be turning into a bluff. I think at this point it's a toss-up between a fold and a call. This time I decide to call. The river is interesting. It's the ace of spades. I check for a 3rd time with the intention of calling pretty much any bet from my opponent. They fire a 3rd bullet for 100 bucks. I think I have a pretty easy decision here. I make the call. My opponent flips over 8-4 offsuit for a complete bluff. Props to them. I think there are plenty of rivers where I could have found a fold. Sadly, the offsuit ace gave me 2 pair was not one of them. I take down a nice pot. Last hand for the vlog. This one was a quickie. It's another drama hot bomb pot where we go 6 ways to a flop of jack, 6, queen, 2 spades. I'm on the button with ace, jack, 7, 5, 4. So best thing I've got going on the board is a 5 high flush draw, and I have ace high in my hand, so not much really, but this hand is about to get a little bit more interesting as we all check and go to draw time. I throw away the 7, 5, and 4, keeping the ace and jack of diamonds. The turn comes a 4, and I draw. King, king, queen with 2 diamonds. Dude, I was 1 card away from drawing a royal flush, lol. As it turns out, I do improve to a pair of kings, but still nothing much on the board. At this point, you're probably scratching your head thinking, how did this hand get more interesting? What the fuck is even Dramaha? Why am I watching this? And I get it, but check this out. We all check, and the river comes to 10. Boom! I rivered the nut straight, and with 2 kings in my hand, I block other players from having it. So when action checks to the cutoff and they bet 20, I raise to 60. And when action falls back to them, they make the call. And watch this. They have ace, king, king, jack, something. So not only do they have the same straight as I do, but they also have the same pair of kings in their hand. Here's the kicker though, pun intended. I have king, king, ace, queen, jack, while they have king, king, ace, jack, X. So I have them outpipped by 1, and I end up quartering them. Pot wasn't crazy big or anything, but it was a pretty funny outcome to a otherwise uneventful hand. But, okay, maybe not funny, but amusing. Okay, maybe not amusing. Hey, you know what? Why don't you just fuck off, alright? You clicked on the video, not me. Maybe I'll see you next week. Maybe I won't. I don't give a shit. Bye.